We are talking, of course, impeachment again. We've got prosecution team member and Manila 3rd District Representative, Congressman Joel Chua. Sir, welcome back to StoryCon.
Magandang hapon, sir.
Magandang hapon, Congressman.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, Congressman.
Good afternoon po.
Let's start from the big picture overview. Kamusta na po ang prosecution panel? What have you guys been up to? And nasama niyo na po ba yung mga bagong members like sila Congresswoman Laila De Lima and Chel Diokno?
Sa ngayon, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang ating paghahanda. Sila, with respect to Congresswoman Laila De Lima and Congressman Chel Diokno, sa 20th Congress pa, kung sakasakaling sila po madadagdag, babasahin po yung kanilang mga pangalan sa plenaryo. So officially, kung meron man pong madadagdag, ay sa 20th Congress pa po ito magaganap.
Congressman, kamusta po ang pagtingin nyo dito sa order ng Supreme Court na lumabas last week? Ano ba tingin nyo dyan? Dahil parang may kaunting mga problema yung letter, lalo na in relation sa Congress.
Well, tayo naman po, ginagalang po natin ang ating taasan na hukuman at kami naman po sa Kongreso ay magko-comply po sa lahat po ng mga hinihinging dokumento at informasyon ng ating Korte Suprema.
Okay naman po yung sabi nyo na magko-comply kayo. Pero hindi ba kayo concerned do sa tenor ng letter na parang may mga legal principles na nalalabag, like katulad ng separation of powers, political question theory, presumption of regularity. Parang nung binasa ko, kahit ako nagulat dun sa statement nila na nabasa ba ng mga congressman itong articles of impeachment. Naunawaan ba nila itong articles of impeachment bago pinadala sa Senado? Parang may pagka-insulting ng kaunti. Kaunti lang naman, Congressman. Di ba kayo concerned doon?
Well, bilang abogado po, siyempre kami po yung mga officer ng court, no? Siyempre, ginagalang po natin yung kanilang mga hinihingi. Siguro, pipilitin na lang po namin na ito isagutin at i-comply.
Pero sir, ano po?
Pero ano po yung tingin niyo doon sa anong yan, mga congressman? Yun nga, follow-up ko lang yung tanong ni Ronald. Ang tingin niyo ba, tinatanong lang ng Supreme Court yung procedural? Parang tinatanong na, hindi naan ba talaga to sa lahat ng mga congressman? Pinabasa ba sa kanila yung... Ganun ba yung interpretation nyo? O yun na nga, merong mga nagsasabi na parang nakaka-insultong araw sa House.
Ano, Congressman, sa legalities naman kasi may presumption na capacitated yung mga tao na gumagawa niyan, lalo na kung sila ay mga kongresista. Usually, sinasabi lang yan pag may level ng incapacity yung tinatanong. Pero kaya doon medyo ako concerned yung tenor na yon, Congressman. Dahil capacitated naman kayo nung ginawa nyo yan.
Well, presumption of legality. Itong impeachment complaint na amin pong isinagmit sa Senado. In fact, ito pong presumption of legality, ito po ay nabanggit po ng ating dating Senate President, Juan Ponce Enrile, doon po sa kaso ni Corona. But at the end of the day, siyempre bilang paggalang sa ating mga kataas-taasang hukom, ayaw naman natin mag-assume. No? So we will just take it as it is at ito'y pipilitin namin ma-comply sa lalong madaling panahon dahil kami po binibigyan na 10 non-extendable period. Ito po ay sundin.
Pero sir, at the same time, medyo pointed yung questions na ni-raise ng Supreme Court and they seem to be pointing to a specific direction. For example, the SC is asking for information on the status of the three previous complaints. Yeah. Hindi yung fourth, yung 3 previous complaints. Also yung exact dates ng filing ng 3 previous complaints and whether the Secretary General has the discretion to decide kung kailan niya itatransmit sa Speaker yung complaint as well as the basis for the apparent delay in his transmission of the complaint. So parang pinupunto, parang ang direksyon ng Supreme Court dito, legal ba o hindi yung pagkakadelay ng SecGen ng pag-transmit sa Speaker's Office yung tatlong naunang impeachment complaints?
Siguro may ilalagay namin sa aming sagot yung kaso po ni Gutierrez. Kung maalala po ninyo, sa kaso po ni dating Merceditas Gutierrez, yung dating ombudsman sa Merceditas Gutierrez versus House of Representatives, kung saan po mismo ang Korte Suprema ang nagsabi, no, na hindi naman kinakailangan na na yung unang first impeachment complaint na isinumito, dapat din na magsisimula yung pwede naman po itong i-collate lahat na. Dahil kung ganun po mangyayari, we will end up na baka mamaya sa susunod, yung first file rule, ang mangyayari niya, may mga bogus complaint na nagagawin sa mga susunod. Ang recording period po kasi dito talaga is yung 10 session days. At may papakita rin naman namin, may puproduce din naman po namin na talagang ito ay pumasok po doon po sa 10 session days. Regardless po, the fact na nakalagay po sa rules na the SecGen ay dapat immediately submitted to the Office of the Speaker. Kasi ito naman po ay backup ng Gutierrez case.
Actually, sir, the same section, in Section 3 that you're referring to the House rules, also says na, well, yeah, I think we're quoting the same section. A verified complaint shall be filed with the SecGen and immediately referred to the Speaker. So, baka lang po matanong, but the first three were all verified complaints which should have been immediately by benefit of the House rules referred to the Speaker.
Pero sa Gutierrez case, sila rin ang mismo nagsasabi. Yung mismo Korte Suprema rin ang nagsasabi na hindi naman pwedeng madaliin ang action ng House, no? Pwede naman itong complaint, pwedeng mag-antay muna ng mga additional impeachment complaint. So, kumbaga, sila rin naman nagsabi nito doon sa Gutierrez case. Napakalinaw din naman po ng kanilang mga dito.
At saka, di ba Congressman, ang sinasabi ay merong 10 session days para gawin ito ng Secretary General. At mukhang nag-comply naman kayo sa 10 session days. Iba yung 10 session days sa 10 days.
Tama po. Comply po kami dahil ito po ay may record din po dito. Session number 26, yun po yung first day, which is December 3. At ito po ay na-submit sa Senate noong February 5. I think pumapatak siya na session number 37, I think. So, pasok po siya sa 10 session days.
Congressman, ngayon pumasok yung Supreme Court dyan, ano? In fact, merong ibang mga abogado sabi, parang nagiging trial of facts na yung Supreme Court. But anyway, ginawa na nila meron pang isang spekulasyon na because of this, lalong madidelay daw yung impeachment kasi baka they're expecting several senators to move na wag na muna natin ituloy i-delay natin hanggat hindi merong final ruling sa Supreme Court. No? Yes. O kaya, apart from that, inaasahan din natin na may mag-move na pagbotohan natin tong motion ng defense na i-dismiss na natin before trial. Ano po yung mga options na iniisip ng prosecution team kung sakasakali itong mga ganitong senaryo mangyari?
Sa ating saligang batas, na once the impeachment complaint reach the Senate, they should proceed with the trial forthwith, immediately. At hanggat hindi po ito pinahihinto, hanggat wala pong nilalabas na TRO ang kataas-taas ng hukuman, hindi po wala pong dahilan para ito po ay pigilin. So, dapat tuloy-tuloy lamang ang trial until such time na matapos ito at mag-render po sila ng desisyon. Yun po, constitutional mandate ng ating mga senador. In fact, alam po ninyo na nakalagay pa sa mismong rules ng impeachment na mismong ang Senado rin ang gumawa na dapat they should exercise political neutrality. Ang word na ginamit dito ay political neutrality. At doon po sa, kasi bago po sila maging senator judge, magte-take po sila ng oath. At doon po sa oath nila nakalagay po yung word na impartiality. So, very bad yan. Dapat lamang po siguro ay with all due respect, siyempre, sa ating mga senator judges, ay dapat siguro maisa puso lamang po nila yung kanilang pong trabaho dahil ito po ay ang nag-uutos po nito ay ang konstitusyon, no, ang ating saligang batas.
So, sorry sir, I hear what you're saying, and oo nga, that is what the Constitution says, but just to follow up on Ami's question, there's talk na baka they might use this as another excuse to delay the proceedings. So the question there is, ano po ang gagawin ng
House?
Is the House preparing for that scenario, and what is your plan if that does come to pass?
Well, lahat naman po ng senaryo pinag-aaralan din po namin. But syempre, until such time na hindi pa po ito dumarating, siguro bibigyan po natin sila ng benefit of the doubt.
Pero hanggat hindi na ako convene yung court, Congressman, walang magagawa yung prosecution team, ano? Hanggat hindi formally convene, sila lang yung gagawa nun eh. Yung mga senador lang yung magaganon.
Tama po kayo. Kaya alam po ninyo, napakalaki pong bagay. Ito pong ginagawa ninyo, ang media, para may lahat po sa taong bayan kung ano po talaga ang nangyayari, maipaliwanag. Kasi maliwanag din na ito pong marami na po ang nagtatanong eh. Talagang lahat po ng tao ay nag-aabang na. At malaki po ang papel ng taong bayan at ng media, kagaya po ninyo.
Pero Kong, di ba nasimulan na yung korte, nasimulan na, na-convene na. Ang pinag-uusapan na lang dito ay kung may continuity doon sa 20th Congress ng Senado. Pero nasimulan na siya noong 19th Congress. Di ba ang issue rito ay yung continuity issue na lang?
Tama po kayo. In fact, inaantay po namin. Ako sa akin po, hindi po issue yun eh. Dahil sa mga pong announcement ng ating Senate President, sinabi naman po niya na magtutuloy-tuloy, continuity, and in fact, pinasubmit, sinamon na ang ating Vice Presidente para magbigay ng kanilang answer. At kami naman po, nakapag-submit na rin po kami ng aming reply. Kaya inaantay na lang po namin na ma-set na yung pre-trial and eventually yung trial proper.
Kaya unless may TRO, dapat ituloy-tuloy na nila. Dahil nasimulan na eh. Dahil nasimulan na eh. TRO na lang ang dapat pumigil.
Yes po. Dapat po simulan na nila at yun din po talaga ang nakasaad sa ating mga batas.
Pero sir, at the same time...
Hindi ba dapat i-swear in yung mga bagong member ng Senate eh? Hindi ba dapat i-swear in din sila bago pinag-uusapan kung na-convene na nga o hindi. Bago mag-umpisa yung trial proper. The process of impeachment, nag-umpisa na eh. Pero yung actual convening ng court under the 20th Congress, hindi ba kailangan may swearing in uli yung lahat, yung full new membership kasama na?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Pero sir, balikan ko lang yung kasi I don't recall the Senate President ever retracting his earlier statement na if majority of the senator judges decide to dismiss the charges outright without a trial, then it shall be dismissed. I don't recall ever having heard him retract that. So that also leaves that hanging over everybody's head. Whether there's a TRO or not from the Supreme Court, there's always that possibility. What happens then?
It's always a possibility. Yes, I agree with you, sir. Until such motion was raised by any of the senators or magbotohan sila, kung ano man yung motion na yan, motion to dismiss or whatever motion, we will always give them the benefit of the doubt. We have to be reminded, sir, na kami po kasi bilang prosecutors, siyempre, we do not want to lock horns with the senator judges. Siyempre, at the end of the day, we wanted to give them the utmost respect that they deserve.
Pero that will be a constitutional issue, Congressman. Pwede bang iakyat yan sa Supreme Court kung sakasakali nga magkaroon ng dismissal without trial?
Yes, we are considering all possible legal options. But as of this point in time, we do not want to preempt what the Senate will do.
Well, the latest on that is that we have Senator Joel Villanueva saying baka August 4 mag-start yung trial because July 28, of course, is the SONA day, and then they convene the next day, and then they'll take a week after that to prepare. So let's say it does come to pass on August 4. May estimate na po ba kayo how long this might take? What are you guys thinking?
Kung titingnan po natin yung mga sa trials, no, mga 3 to 4 months, inaabot po yung mga trials po dati. So, we do not need to prove all articles. Hindi naman po yung 7 articles. Pag naniniwala po kami, 3 after the 3rd or the 4th articles, I mean, we have enough sufficient evidence to convict the Vice President. So, siguro po pwede na yun.
What are the 3 articles you're thinking to present first?
Well, basically, lahat naman po matibay ang articles. Although yung Article 1, this concerns yung threat against the life of the President, the First Lady, and the Speaker. Yung second article, yung confidential fund. Yung third article, ito po ay yung bribery issue. Yung fourth is with respect to the SALN. So, yung fifth, yung EJK. So, ito pong 5 to, talagang very solid po to.
So, ang strategy po ba at this point is to present or argue the first 3 or 4 charges first, tapos saka na iba. Since, as you said, if you do all the 7 charges, matatagalan pa. And it looks like you have strong evidence at this point by your standards.
Well, titingnan po natin as the hearing progresses. So, titingnan natin kung ano mangyayari.
On the point of the confidential fund, sir, I'm sure you saw that her office has issued a response saying that, well, COA gave them unmodified opinion over the last 3 years. But I know that you don't think much of it. Please explain why.
Yeah. It does not mean na wala naman pong problema dito. In fact, they were given notice of disallowance. So, kung walang problema, bakit na-issuean kayo ng notice of disallowance? In fact, during the committee hearing, if I remember it correctly, with the Committee on Appropriation, that question was asked. What do you mean by notice of disallowance? When the COA issued the notice of disallowance, what does it mean? So sabi po mismo ng COA na mali po yung paggamit. May problema sa paggamit. So that is on record.
Sila nag-unqualified opinion. Kasi pinagmamalakihan actually ng mga agencies, and when they get that from the COA, parang seal of good governance yan sa kanila eh.
Yeah.
Bakit ganon? Parang hindi yata nagtutugma.
Yes,
Yeah, kaya I think dapat COA mag-panag, di ba? So, the fact na fin-lockdown nila yung first 125 million that was used for a period of 11 days. Yung nagkaroon ng notice of disallowance na dun eh. So, paano mo ipaliliwanag na walang problema yun?
Actually, karamihan yata ng mga departamento talagang binibigyan ng seal of good governance. Parang may pagka-pro forma siya. Pero pag yung notice of disallowance, mas intensive na pagsusuri yun dun sa laman ng budget. No? Mas targeted sa specific components ng budget. Yung seal of good governance, mas yung buong departamento na nag-comply sila sa mga procedures, etc. etc. Kaya medyo magkaiba yung dalawa.
Or they submitted the documents according to SOP.
Yes.
Ba yun? Hindi na audit pa. Hindi pa yun yung auditing part. This is just the part where you submit all the relevant documents to COA, I think.
Yung mga forms, yung mga ganyan, yung mga deadlines.
Sir, have you found out any more about still on the confidential funds? Have you found out any more about itong mga so-called Chichirya names? One thing we keep coming back to is, hindi naman talaga, of course, we know they're not likely to be real people, but the question there is whether there is a ledger where the real names are written down.
Yes, sir. We talked to Heidi Mendoza, former COA commissioner before about it. Ang sabi niya, as per the Joint Circular of 2015, dapat meron parating ledger kung saan nakalista yung mga real names na mga nakatanggap ng pera. So that yan ang pwedeng ibangga doon sa kung meron man doon sa mga vouchers na may mga suspicious names.
If you will read the Circular 2015, nakalagay po dito, dapat po yung real name, naka-sealed po yan. Nakalagay po sa sealed envelope,
yes, sir,
with the word confidential at the back. And then, ito pong sealed envelope, kailangan po ilagay po o itago sa vault. Now, during the committee hearing on good government, it was never presented to us. In fact, kung talagang meron to begin with, they asked for a certification from the AFP, bogus certification from the for AFP. Diba? Na talaga namang admittedly by AFP said na they did not receive any funding from the OVP. Doon lang meron ng problema eh. Diba? And then, the issue is not only with respect to the bogus name. I think the office of the Vice President needs also to explain the 1 million safe house that they rented in a span of 11 days. So, saan pong safe house ito na narentahan ninyo that is worth 1 million in 11 days?
Yun nga kung isang pinagtataka ko dahil lumabas na may mga isa o dalawang military officer na nagdala ng 120 million sa kanila binigay at dinala nila wherever. Bakit yung military officer na yun hindi ko nakita na pinatawag para tumestigo?
Because at that time, if I remember it correctly, the military already conducted an investigation. So nagkaroon na sila ng sarili nilang investigation and then may mga supervening event na nangyari. Nagkaroon na ng mga breaks, so forth and so on. And we believe na una-una, hindi naman talaga, may violation na. Yung the fact na binigay sa kanila, may violation na because they are not supposedly they are not the proper or the right person to receive the 125 million because they are not the SDO. The caretaker of the 125 million or the one who is in charge to disburse the 125 million is the SDO. Kasi sila yung banded officer eh.
Yeah.
Pero lang may problema na. So hindi na naman kailangan na ipaliwanag. And besides, hindi rin naman sila empleyado ng OVP at saka ng DepEd.
So, can we assume, Kong, na ipapatawag sila during the trial?
Well, most likely po.
Si Congressman doesn't want to give all his cards away. But we appreciate your candidness. Thank you so much for talking to us today. We'll leave it there for now. House Prosecutor and Manila 3rd District Representative Congressman Joel Chua. Salamat po.
Salamat, Kong.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Congressman.
Salamat po, Pablo.